So I play for a minute what after she says go?
Yes.
Yeah. Just start playing?
Good morning, Center for Spiritual Living family. We're so glad you're here. We hope you're really happy, because we're happy, and we're happy to have Miss Sandra Cavanaugh here. So please give her a hand.
Did you ever meet someone who didn't know when there would be without the decency to lay down and give in? One you wouldn't see a whining, cause they find that silver lining. In the tragedy they find a hopeful spin. The impractical, the woo-woo types keep saying it's all good. The faithful, helpful dopes who make a dirty word a should. Think that everything's a lesson that'll work out in the end. Find 'em singing in the shower while the walls come crashing in. Yeah, 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 they're happy for no reason. They find it pleasing to be living in the now. They are so happy for no reason. They just don't care about the stories anyhow. To them life is a game that we are living, an illusion where our lessons come to life. Each grain of sand upon this world they can turn into a pearl. Just loving every moment, wrong or right. Well, I guess I have to fess up, I'm one of those silly goofs. I'm a total geek for living in the now. I believe in manifesting, and there really is no question that the universe will take care of the how. I use vision boards, affirming words, have faith in all that's good. I see light in every darkness, and I don't believe in should. I think that everything's a miracle that works out in the end. Everyone that brings me challenge, I just call a sacred friend. Yeah, 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 I'm happy for no reason. I find it pleasing to be living in the now. I am so happy for no reason. There ain't no pleasing some people anyhow. The fun is in this game that we are living. All the beauty and the loving that we share. Every challenge that you see is just an opportunity, a door of hope. Go on and leap through if you dare. You may not want to stand too close if you're attached to being down, cause this attitude's a really catching thing. So many times I've been thought crazy or perceived as being lazy, cause I won't stress out at every little thing. But if you want to take a chance and see what's on the other side, you can be a Pollyanna and have a really festive ride. A life living without stories is fun right in the end. Everyone that brings you challenge, you just call a sacred friend. Yeah, 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 come on, get happy for no reason. There ain't no pleasing some people anyhow. Come on, get happy for no reason. Let's just be choosing to be living in the now. Let's just be living and a loving in the wow. Let's just be sharing and a caring in this now. Let's just be living and a loving in the wow.
Now, in the old days before Facebook, I would not have been embarrassed. I'm just saying, good morning. I was over in the corner dancing and I lost my microphone. Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in Boise, Idaho. I'm Jackie Holland, the senior minister here, and it is my honor, my pleasure, my love to be welcoming you this morning. Those of you who are in the sanctuary safely distancing, and those of you who are with us on Facebook Live out there in your pajamas and your slippers, watching us on church, watching us do church this morning. We're delighted to welcome you this morning, whatever time you're watching it. And I want you to know that we do feel you beyond this cold, sterile camera that sits in front of us. We feel all of you that are at home with us this morning. Thank you so much. You've already heard the wonderful sounds of Miss Sandra Kavanaugh, our special musical guest artist this morning. And she sang that song as a special gift to me, because I said, come on, Sandra, I need to be lifted this morning. Lift me, girl. What you got that's happy? And so she brought that to us. Thank you so much. And, of course, making it all happen musically is our director, Rex Miller. Yes, and on the drums this morning, we have Phil Bowden. And taking forth the beautiful low bass notes, we have Ted McClurg. Let's just give the best music in Boise a hand. I tell you, our musicians, we are so blessed to have them, and we are so honored to have their music with us every Sunday, making it sound great. In the sound booth this morning is Maria Blank and her mate, Mr. Chris, making it all sound great. J.J. Bullock, your board president, has been welcoming people this morning, making sure they're following all the guidelines that we have to follow in order to have assembly worship. And we're so grateful to her. And also, she was our Cosmic Cleaning Crew team member this week that came in and cleaned your church. You know, J.J. does so much. So when you see J.J., just send her a virtual kiss for all that she does for this church. And on camera this morning is Miss Cheryl Houdon. Yes, 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 yes. And so we're deeply grateful as our practitioner is making her way forward. It is my honor just to introduce Lisa Compton, who will be bringing forth our spiritual practices. Let's just take a moment and breathe with him. Just breathe. Just take a breath, a deep breath. Take a deep breath into those strong, healthy lungs right now. Take a breath for all Americans and people all over our world that are in the hospital battling COVID-19. That don't have the same freedom to breathe as deeply as we do. Just consciously now, breathe in and say thank you to your body temple. Take a moment now and open your heart. To receive the Word of God through practitioner Lisa Compton.
Good morning, everybody. It is my honor to introduce Joanne Zimmerman, who will light the world religion candles from the Christ candle. In religion science, we perform this ceremony to acknowledge that all people and all faiths come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. In lighting these candles, we honor the one family of humanity made up of over 4,000 religions and spiritual traditions throughout the world. We light the first candle for the Brazilian Yanamono that recognizes that every person, animal, plant, stone, mountain, and river, everything is abundantly imbued with spirit. It's basic that everything is and of and from spirit. We light the second candle to honor Navajo spirituality, which teaches us to walk in harmony with all of life and especially with each other. Navajo teachings of attunement, atonement, and return to balance lead to the art of living in beauty. We light the third candle for Australian Aboriginal spirituality, whose adherents spent as much as 30% of their lives in a state called the dream time, a deep meditative realization of and participation in the universal nature of spirit. We light the fourth candle for the ancient Hawaiian and Polynesian spirituality, knowing that each expresses the breath of God in every breath we breathe. God is in us and as us and through us. We light the fourth candle, we light the fifth candle and final candle that honors new thought, which is rooted in the ancient spiritual awareness that God is all there is. God is love, one spirit, one harmony, one peace, and one love. Now we'll quiet our minds and open our hearts for the message being sung by Sandra Kavanaugh.
Every drop of rain that falls is dancing with the ocean, and every light that shines is a reflection of the sun. In the magic of the moment, when our hearts are open wide, we can feel the thread inside that connects us all as one. I am open to this moment, resting in the now, offering myself to love. Every peaceful moment starts within the heart of someone, and every lasting lesson is a gift we give ourselves. In the magic of the moment, when our hearts are open wide, we can feel that thread inside that connects us all as one. We can open to this moment, resting in the now, offering ourselves to love. In the magic of this moment, with our hearts opening wide, we can feel that thread inside that connects us all as one. We are open to this moment, drinking in the now, offering ourselves to love. We are
stepping into this beautiful space of prayerful music, beautiful words, connecting to that source, that love, that presence which I call spirit, not only all around us, but moving in and through each one of us. In the beat of our hearts, we are all one with this divine source of God. And knowing that we are one with this divine source of God, we claim this day a new beginning, a new start to whatever it is for you. It's a new day, one yet unlived. And we know that it is guided and guarded in the power and the presence of God and love itself. For this and so much more, we're so deeply grateful. Speaking a word for our Reverend Jackie as she gets up, knowing that she has done her work today, that she is prepared to deliver a message that we all came to hear, that Spirit calls forth. So for this and so much more, we're so deeply grateful. We're deeply grateful. So I let it go into the law, knowing that it's done. And as we say silently to ourselves, Namaste, Om, Om, Shanti, Ashe, Amen, Aho, and so it is.
Please welcome Miss Sandra Kavanaugh.
I'm just standing here looking around, and I can't really wrap my head around what I've found. I've been climbing this mountain for so long, forgot what I was climbing for, but I can't imagine finding anything more. It's so funny how we think that we know the right and the wrong of the journey we're on, and just how it should go, when the truth is whatever is exactly as it should be, 'cause the journey, not the end, is our destiny. Only question that heaven has to ask us, do we know that we're already there? What we find at the summit of the dream that we seek is the vision of who we already are. Heaven knows if the doors all seem closed, there are windows flying open everywhere. And heaven sees only opportunities, 'cause that's all that is ever really there. It's so perfect, whatever it may be. The struggles we face, the choices we make can be bittersweet. It doesn't have to be good to be perfect. We just have to be willing to see that it's all part of a grand synchronicity. All we really need to do is to have faith that the universe has answers to spare. When we finally realize that this path leads inside, then the answers are already there. Heaven knows if the doors all seem closed, there And heaven sees only opportunities, 'cause that's all that is ever really there.
Sandra Kavanaugh, ladies and gentlemen, Sandra Kavanaugh. I'm thinking about something. I have to write it down. That happens with age. Good morning. Welcome on this amazing, magnificent day. What a week we've had, yes? What a beautiful, amazing week we have had. Let's just take a deep breath together. I've had recently some difficult things going on for me on a personal basis involving my family. And as I was thinking about this, I was thinking, you know, being a minister is a really tough job. I want you all to know that. Because you just live out loud. That's what you do. You live out loud. I had done talks, as you know, always. We do talks here at the church on releasing and letting go at the end of the year. Here's what I think. I think, okay, I'll do my release talk, let it go, trust God, and I've done my duty for the year. Let go, let go. Right? Well, Spirit has different ideas for us quite often, as you know. And so this week, or last week, as I was going through some of my stuff, I thought, okay, well, what is the spiritual intention behind this thing that is happening? What is the spiritual intention for you, the lesson for you? And it was once again, letting go, releasing. And I think that we know that with an inauguration, with a new administration, with a new president and vice president, that we also are being called on as American citizens to let go of some of our preconceived ideas and notions and desires and to move on. So it's all kind of mixed up in my mind, but I want to tell you a story that gave me a great deal of comfort. It's a children's story, and as children's stories always do, they have the greatest lessons, don't they? Children's stories. So one of my favorite children's stories is a story called Grandfather's Slippers. Grandma thinks it's time to throw out grandfather's slippers because they're tattered and they're old and they're worn down. But every time she throws them out, he goes and finds them. No matter where she puts them in the trash, he goes and finds them. When she hides them before trash day, he goes and finds them and puts them back on because he loves his slippers. He loves his slippers. Grandma's right, of course. She's right because the time has come for a pair of new slippers. But on the other hand, she knows that the old curmudgeon has to make up his own mind. He has to make his own decisions about when to move on from his treasured slippers. Now, you can laugh at this little story, but I just want you to recognize that we all hold on to something that we treasure. Whether it's a belief or a person or a habit or an idea, we all hold on to something that maybe it's time to move on from. So forgive me for plundering in the closets of your private life, your personal life story. And if you don't want to move on, if you don't want to listen, then, now's the time for you to just, think about doing something else. You can stop listening if you want to and wait for the great music. But on the other hand, if you are ready to claim your most powerful and exciting future, then stay with us for a little bit. Just stay here for just a little bit. You can consider me your meddling best friend. You know, the one that has no filters and just tells you what she thinks you need to know, whether you need to know it or not. Just for a minute. Me and God, we're going to meddle in the closet of your life story. Because our stories are a lot like Grandpa's slipper stories, aren't they? Those shoes don't fit us anymore. We're a different person. The story doesn't fit the person that we want to become, that we know we should become. Like those old slippers, our story is coming apart at the seams because it's not who we are anymore. Any more than our country is the same country that it was a week ago. It's not who we are anymore. When we hold on to these things, we realize, whether it's slippers or clothes or stories, we realize that it's several too small sizes, too small for the life that we deserve, the life that God intended for us when she moved upon herself in an act of love and recreated himself as you, itself as you. It's too small. It doesn't fit anymore. Those slippers represent a version of our life that's become comfortable. It's become comfortable. We know what our feet are going to feel like when we slip them into those slippers, don't we? Doesn't matter that there's a hole in it and that it gets cold and that it's coming apart. They're comfortable. But it's not the truth. It's not God's truth. It's not Spirit's truth for our lives. When we're walking around in a life that's several sizes too small for God's intention of who you are. It's ancient drama slopping around in truth's slippers. I'm telling you. That might be keeping the soles of your feet warm with that familiar glow of comfortableness. You know, comfortableness. Maybe even a little bit of self-righteousness because somebody wants you to get rid of it, and by God, you're not going to, no matter what, because it's served you. But it's not feeding your soul. It's not feeding the spirit of who you are. Your old story about who you are is a half-truth. And by the way, people, it might be the half-truth that's not true. Wouldn't we like to think that we're holding on to the truth of who we are? But in reality, we exchange comfort for truth. We'd rather put on the old, too small, rattle-tagged story of our life than move on because it's uncomfortable, because it's uncomfortable. What I realized as I was going through a family drama myself was that I had to let go of the story of poor victim me. And I had to move into a new story, a new truth, put on new slippers, if you will, called truth, called what I love. Our new president, Joe Biden, said, we know a community of people by the focus of their love. Oh, we know you. We know who you are by the focus. What you place your attention on is what you love. Where does, in your own personal life, what do you love enough to surrender those things that no longer work? As the Buddhist teacher Chandran says this, the truth you believe and cling to makes you unavailable to hear anything new. The truth that you hold on to and cling to and believe makes you unavailable to hear anything new. That's called cognitive dissonance, where we have two ideas, where we're unavailable for anything new because we're so busy holding on to what has been. Who would you be without your old slippers? As long as you choose to walk with the gait of a victim, walk in your old story, in your too small life, everything that happens to you will feed your story. The law of attraction. You can search in closets, under beds, and in the trash for any excuse to reignite the old drama of your life because you're comfortable there. You know, I was reminded many, many years ago when I was living in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, I had a ridiculous habit of putting clothes that needed to be dry cleaned into the same kind of bag that the trash can liner had. Yes. And so I had a suit. I had this amazing suit. I mean, it fit me beautifully. It was the perfect color. You know what I'm talking? You know, ladies, I know you know what I'm talking. I had the perfect shoes and jewelry and everything to go with this suit, and it needed to be dry cleaned. And by the way, it was my lucky suit. It was my lucky suit. I wore it for all my big business events when I was in the ad business, meeting new clients. It was my lucky suit. So anyway, I put that suit down in the hallway in order to take it out to take it to the dry cleaners with me. And I think you know the end of this story before I even tell you. Well, Al, are you still with us on planet Earth? Al Duclos. I wonder if you're still with us. But Al Duclos thought he was doing me a favor, and he took the trash out thinking that was trash as well, and boom, it all went into the big trash bin. OMG. I have no way of explaining to you how lost I was without this silly suit. I mean, it's just crazy. And in my next big business meeting, I just knew I would fail because I didn't have my lucky suit. How like this are we all? How like this? And believe you me, the point of the story is that I went into that trash bin to try to find a suit. Think about this. This is a little bit like your life. That once we have something that we hold as dear to us, whether it's a possession or a belief or a habit or whatever it is, we will search heaven and you know where in order to find it. While we will release a habit, we will release an addiction, and we'll go searching for situations to put us back in the position to make it okay for us to pick it back up. And that's because we don't trust God. That's because we don't trust that within us there is this innate ability to survive no matter what. And that Spirit is with us, guiding us, supporting us, sustaining us, loving us through it, but is asking us to do the work. We have to begin the journey to release first the things that are no longer serving us. Listen, I can tell you this, that life is going to continue to happen to us instead of through us as Spirit wants, until we begin to tell a new story. That tired old story is done. So it's time, as I realize, to close the book on the victim story, and to realize that we're powerful adventurers, pioneers on a journey to find love and beauty and God and Spirit, whatever word you want to use, Creator. We're on a journey to find it all around us. And once we know that, we can surrender ourselves into the power and the love of God itself and allow life to happen through us and with us rather than to us. Are you knowing what I'm saying? How many of us right now are living at the effects of life, thinking that life is doing something to us, thinking that this pandemic is doing something to us? What if we could exchange this idea for a new idea that life is happening through us, as us, creating us to be the vessel of Spirit itself, to express God right now in a new, dynamic way? Stop being the victim of all of this. Oh my goodness, I'm telling you this. If wearing a mask is the worst thing you have to do in your life, then please exchange your life with mine. Please. We don't do ourselves or anybody else a service when we allow each other to wallow in this self-pity. We have to take a power walk in our new slippers and see how they feel. Yeah. We have to use the language of power and love and potential rather than the language of paralysis and hate and limitation. Because our God is a God of love and abundance and goodness. And our God is the God of all, not our God. We own no God. The creator of all life does not exist in a life of limitation and hate and pain. I'm not talking about denial here. Look, we do anything that we can to avoid the other extreme of blame as well. So we have to allow ourselves to feel the pain and not deny our past as we're trying to let go of the story that no longer fits. Don't think that this happens with one motion, with 1 minute, with one decision. Don't believe for 1 second that I'm telling you that this happens without pain. No. Maybe for you, I'm not judging your journey, but I'm saying that What I learned this week was that I had to allow myself to feel the pain. And somewhere in between blame and victimhood, there came the strength and the love and the trust that everything is unfolding in a perfect and divine way. And I'm not just using those Pollyanna words for you. I'm telling you that when we truly, truly surrender to the Spirit and the love of God itself, there is something that moves through us. And you know that you know. You know that you know. The value in living a spiritual life with spiritual principles and practices of meditation and prayer and surrender is living a life of letting go of fixed ideas of control. It's letting go of having to know how everything works. It's letting go of hurry and worry and clutter. That's living the spiritual life to the best of our abilities at this moment. Because there is no higher or lower consciousness. There is no greater or lower consciousness. It's an expansion of consciousness. You know, sometimes I think in this philosophy when we talk about consciousness that people think that we're talking about come up to my consciousness. If within us is the kernel of Spirit itself, is the kernel of God itself, then it's not about bringing it up in any way. It's about expanding ourselves, knowing ourselves, trusting our God, and trusting life. Our early Christian brothers, fathers, and mothers taught the way of Jesus was a path of subtraction more than addition. The master teacher Jesus taught us this. The early Christians strove mightily to become loving, forgiving, kind, and compassionate, which were the teachings of the teacher, the greatest rabbi who ever lived, Jesus the Christ. They surrendered to Spirit. This was new for them, the idea of loving one another, treating one another with respect and justice and love. It was new to them. The Master had taught this. And we act like it's new to us today. We're still acting like it's new. When our new president spoke of unity, speaking about judging each other by their heart, listening to each other, unifying for the next 100 days, only 100 days, he begged. Only 100 days, no matter what you believe, no matter who you are, no matter what political affiliation you have, for 100 days, he beseeched us to come together in unity. And we're acting like it's a new idea. The master teacher taught it thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. But we forgot in the grit and the dirt of the journey of life, in our desire for power and greater and bigger and more, we forgot. In the great spiritual classic, The Imitation of Christ, Thomas A. Kempis wrote about a regular practice of letting go. He said this: to sum up, dear friend of mine, unclench your fists and let everything fly out of your hands. Clean yourself up nicely and stay faithful to your Creator. Unclench your hands, your minds. Unclench, open your hearts. Clean yourself up. You think he meant go and take a shower? No. Well, maybe. It was dusty there. But I think it was deeper, don't you? Clean yourself up. Look first at yourself. Clean yourself up. One of the basic philosophies, as I understand the 12-step program, is look to yourself first. Look to yourself. It's an inside job, my beloved ones. Letting go of fixed ideas about the way things are or how people are supposed to behave is just one step in letting go. Looking at yourself first. It's only the first step. Have you ever taken a cherished idea of your own and tried to change it? Listen, I read something interesting. I want to share this with you. It said, members of Heaven's Gate. You remember Heaven's Gate? Some of you young people in the room don't. But anyway, it was a religious cult. They believed that the Hale-Bopp comet passed by Earth in 1997. And that when it passed by, a spaceship would be traveling in its wake after it. So they believed, and Hale-Bopp comet did come by, but they believed that there would be a spaceship in its wake, and it would be coming to take true believers, which they were aboard. Several members of the group brought an expensive, high-powered telescope so that they might get a clearer view of the comet. They spent thousands and tens of thousands of dollars on this high-powered telescope so that they could see the comet, but most of all so that they could see the spaceship that was following the comet to come and take them home. The next day, they brought the telescope back and asked for a refund. When the manager asked why, they complained that the telescope was defective, that it didn't show the spaceship following the comet. A short time later, believing that they would be rescued once they had shed their earthly containers, you know that all 39 members killed themselves. Listen, I share that story with you because here was this science, this microscope that saw the comet and everything around it, but because it didn't show a spaceship, it had to be defective. Okay, so I'm asking you, can you personalize that for yourself for just a minute? Okay, only I am guilty of this. I get it. Looking at something outside of myself and saying, it is wrong. It is defective. Not me. Not me. It cannot be me. I mean, letting go. Moving on means surrendering to the grace of God. It is as simple and as difficult as that, my friends. Surrendering to the grace and the love and the support of God, called by whatever name you want to call it. I have no energy on whatever name is used for this great creator of all life. I like to call it love. Surrendering to the grace of that which is your higher power will be the most difficult, some of you and I, thing we have ever done. I think about Mary, the mother of Jesus, who beautifully modeled that concept for us. The unwed girl who knew it was crazy, but she opened herself up to grace. She didn't try to control it. She didn't try to change it. She opened her life to grace. What would happen if we opened our life to grace? Letting go of hurry and worry in this crazy pandemic world is a spiritual challenge. I know that it is. Poet Rilke once wrote, "Trees do not force their sap, nor does the flower push its bloom. Don't try to force this. But in God's time, grace's time, life's time, you will hear the voice of your own intuition, and you will discern the love and the will of God, and you will let go, as I have. At least in this situation. More to come. This year of pandemic has forced me into the role of student on so many occasions. It's pushed me and encouraged me to let go of old narratives and painful pasts. It's pushed me to let go of control and the way that I think things should look. This year has inspired me to work harder at letting go of self-loathing, self-disrespect, of insecurities. It's pushed me to the pain of letting go of hurtful people, of my unrealistic expectations and my timelines. It's forced me to stop comparing myself to other people, those ministers who have the 5 cameras and the sound and the music all rolling up on the screen. It's pushed me to realize that I'm doing God's work in the way that I have been created to do, at the best of our abilities here, right now. It has pushed me to the place of releasing my obsessive worrying about things that are beyond my control. Okay, I'm better. I'm better. Because I discovered something in this last 11 months that we have gone through together. I have discovered that I owe it to myself to be more kind to me. To be more kind to me and to the God that is within me and the Spirit of life that created me. Every single day, I'm taught new ways to let go, new ways to look at the fact that, we humans, I'm telling you something, we humans know how to fight for the things that are important to us. I've said this before. We'll fight for relationships, for people, for jobs, for things to stay the same, for things to go back the way they used to be. We'll fight for jobs. We'll fight for all kinds of things. But often humans do not fight as hard to hold on to the kernel of themselves, the Spirit of God that is within them. We don't seem to want to do this. Listen, if you're in the midst of releasing something as I am, I promise you this, you're going to get through this. You really are. You will get through this. We will get through this pandemic. We will get through the changes that are coming at us so fast every single minute, every single moment with our new administration. But first, to get through this, we've got to release our grip on whatever it is that's holding us back. We can't possibly know the possibilities until we let go. And when we let go, step into trust. Trust of God. Trust that we live in a universe that is friendly, that is for us and not against us. That's the core concept of religious science, that we live in a friendly universe that is for us and not against us. And we can step into that friendly universe and know that we'll be supported. But we got to let go. We got to let go. You have to think a little bit like this, like it's about the boat that's sinking. Have any of you been on a boat? I bet Lisa Compton has, that's been sinking. I bet she has, because she's a real boat person. Well, a lot of boat people, at some point or the other, you're going to be in a boat that's going to sink, right? Well, I never have been in a boat that was sinking, but I have been in an airplane in the Pacific Ocean that was sinking, that had crash landed in Panama in the Pacific Ocean, or Atlantic Ocean. I get confused. I don't know. One of those oceans. Anyway, we were down there. Whichever side of Panama the Darien Jungle is on, okay? I don't know. And here's what I remember about that. I didn't want to leave the airplane. We waited for it to stabilize in the water. We waited till the water came up enough in the cabin, the small aircraft, so that we could open up the doors without the airplane flipping. This was very dramatic. It was very dramatic. My instinct was, don't leave the airplane. It's big. It's solid. But it was sinking. Well, I wasn't a very good swimmer. I'm going to acknowledge that to you right now. It was solid. It was heavy. It was something I could hold on to. And only in releasing my hold could I save my own life. Now, that sounds very dramatic to you, but I am telling you this. I want you to look into my eyes. I'm telling you this. Only by releasing the things that do not serve you and do not honor God and the life that Spirit intended for you, that is the only way that you can save yourself. That is the only way that we can move on to this great dream that God dreamt the moment that you were birthed. I know that the most horrifying part, I know this, This is not something that I've researched and read. It's not some cute quote that I'm pulling out of a book to tell you about. It is from my experience. I know how hard it is to let go of something that you think is going to help you. It's going to support you. It's going to be there. And when you let go, it's the most terrifying moment of your life. I remember all the people around me, frightened, scaring. There were 8 of us on the plane. Babbling. All I remember is babble. Let go, let go. You've got to let go. We've got to get to the island. Would it be too dramatic to tell you that moment changed my life? Would you think that I'm a drama queen if I told you that? Well, you may think that if you want, but here is what I heard. If you let go, I'll be with you. I'll carry you. The water will not overtake you, for I am with you always. This is the promise, and this is what I know today. I finally discovered it. Holding on to pain, holding on to anything that does not serve the potential that you are, does not work, does not fix anything. Replaying the past over and over, wanting it to be different, wanting your family to be different, wanting your position in your family to be different. It won't fix anything. Letting go and allowing the love and the grace and the peace of God to lift you and to carry you is the only thing that can make a difference. Oddly, what I discovered in letting go, which is a process, a big process, not over yet, is that painful feelings can be comfortable. Sometimes we stay in the pain because it's comfortable. That's my story today. Staying in the pain and finally realizing that, what am I going to replace that with? And as a question, what are you going to replace the pain that has become so comfortable to you? So the happy ending to Grandpa's slipper story is this. Eventually, Grandpa learned to let go of the slippers. No matter how many new pairs of slippers Grandma bought him to entice him, you're going to love these, the insoles, walking on clouds. No, none of that did that. Grandpa had to come to his own time, his own way of letting go. He eventually let go of his old slippers. He eventually bought a new pair, and voila, it turned out that he loved the new slippers as much as he loved his old slippers, and maybe even more. Look, I can't make any promises to you, but I can't help feeling that that this is true for all of us, that this is the same for all of us. The new story in you, in me, will take some getting used to. It absolutely will. But once you let go and you move on, your life will flourish in leaps and bounds, I'm telling you. It'll move from responsibility and pain to power, to spiritual power. It'll move from having no choice to freedom. It'll move from being imprisoned to living a life on your and God's choices. Listen, this has no end point. I want you to know that. This letting go, it's not like one day I can step up here on this stage and say, okay, that's it. Ha! Done! Here I am, spiritual. Okay, those of you who know me know that's never going to happen. But here's the deal. This process of claiming your power, this process of releasing and letting go the things that don't serve you, it never ends. It never ends. Because no sooner had Grandpa slipped his feet into his new comfortable slippers then Grandma started talking about that old rattle-tattled sweater. Here's what happens. When you claim power in one area of your life, you begin the momentum of moving forward. The momentum of moving forward. And then you start looking at your attention gets brought to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But in the midst of all of this, I want to say, enjoy it if you can. Yes, release can be painful, but it can also be liberating. Release can be painful, but it can also be happy, which was one of the reason that I wanted Sandra to sing that song. And don't forget, listen, making life-affirming choices is exciting. It is exciting. It's adventurous. Listen, in The Alchemist, you remember the quote from The Alchemist. This person had been robbed. He had been robbed. Things had been taken away from him. And here's the quote. He said, as he mused about these things, he realized he had to choose between thinking of himself as the poor victim of a thief and as an adventurer in quest of his treasures. That's our life. Don't think of yourself as losing something, but about being on the great adventure to God's abundance, to God's promises, to the beauty and the wealth of a magnificent life. Peace and blessings, my beloved ones. Everybody look down at your slippers right now. Everybody look at your feet and ask yourself, is it time? Is it time for a pair of new slippers? Let's just take a minute and invite for just a moment Lisa Compton to come up and lead us in prayer.
Join me in prayer. Standing in this powerful place, in this powerful message of surrender, surrendering those things that do not serve, we stand in this place of wisdom and clarity and the call of Spirit. We know what it is. We know what it is. And we lay it down and let it go. And trust that place of faith and God that is all around us, knowing that it's in us, knowing we claim health, freedom, joy, love. We claim it all. We claim it all. We embrace it. We embody it. We let it move through us. We let go of those things that don't serve, and we stand in the place of faith, rooted deeply into this earth, rooted in God. So, in deep gratitude and thanksgiving for this and the greater good that is taking place in each and every one of our lives, whatever it is, it's there, serving us to our highest and our best. Letting this word go, knowing the law supports it. And so it is, and so I let it be.
And allowing the prayer vortex to remain open. Allowing this space just to be available now for you to place anything in the vortex. And be lifted by the consciousness of our practitioner, Lisa Compton, and all the practitioners in this church. We affirm right here, right now, that our beloved Mickey is growing stronger and stronger every day, as she had an accident and broke her leg this week. Right there, getting ready for surgery on Tuesday, preparing for surgery. We know that the Spirit and the powerful healing presence of God is right there. And the doctors, the nurses, anesthesiologists, all people surrounding her precious body. We rejoice with our beloved Anne as she has returned home following her surgery this week, knowing that all is well. And right now, we lift up the families, friends, loved ones of the over 400,000 men, women, and children that have made their transition due to COVID-19. And we grieve, we mourn for all people who made their transition this week, no matter from what, but we especially send our love to those families mourning loss today. And we bless all people working so tirelessly to bring a healing to this country. Those people working in the medical field to bring COVID-19 vaccinations to us. We say thank you to this administration that is tirelessly working for human rights for all people. For those people from other countries seeking to come to our country to be free. For our LGBTQ community the flag can be flown again. We say thank you to this administration for quick and decisive movement in those areas of equality and justice for all people. And to bring health and financial security, we say thank you, God. Thank you, Infinite Spirit. Thank you for this love, and we allow it to be so. And so it is. Amen. 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 Take a deep breath and turn to someone in the sanctuary and let them know that you are so glad that they are here, and look right into this camera. And let me tell you that we are honored that you have been with us today. Hang out for another couple of minutes. I want to just announce, as we are preparing for our offering, that this week is very exciting. Tomorrow night, we have our men's group. It is open to anybody, but it is a discussion of spiritual things that support the male, the masculine. Everybody's invited. Please go to cslboise.org and get all the information for that Zoom link. Immediately after service at 11:45, we have our Zoom hospitality. This is a time where you can just see each other on the Zoom, and you can talk about anything that came up for you in the service or anything you want. We're deeply grateful to David and Loretta Knowles for hosting our hospitality, our Zoom hospitality hour. I remind you that every Tuesday night, we have our what we call the 12-step support bridge group, led by our practitioner, Lisa Compton, that you saw today. Well, she is the director of the group. It moves around with leadership. I don't care what you are facing. You're welcome to come to this group. You're welcome. It's a safe place for you to talk about addictions and anything else in your life. It's bridging the spirituality with this 12-step program. It's a wonderful program, so we invite you every Tuesday night. Men's group once a month, this Monday night. And, of course, our Zoom hospitality. Stay tuned for our new Wednesday night offerings. And every noon, 12 o'clock Pacific time, 12 o'clock Mountain time. You live in Los Angeles as many years as I did. You forget what time zone you're in. Listen, we're in the Mountain time zone. So at noon Mountain time, one of our practitioners or myself bring forth 15 or so minutes of meditation, a reading, some time for you to be in spiritual practice at noon. Or you can go to our CSL Boise Facebook page or our YouTube page, and you can watch this service and any of our meditations anytime that you want to. Thank you for being with us once again. We are deeply honored that you are with us. This is our conscious giving time. I want to again say that the $5,000 matching fund is still available, and at the same time, I want to tell you that there are exciting things happening here at CSL Boise. As we said last week, we are getting excited about coming back together. We're looking at ways this summer, even before they lift some of the CDC requirements for group gatherings. We're looking at doing some outdoor things, bringing us back together before the fall when we know we can safely come back together. And part of what we are looking at is, where does this church go from here? What is our next? What do we let go of? What old slippers in the CSL Boise can we put in that dumpster over there? And don't go diving for them, people. What can we let go of, and what can we move into? And as part of that, we brought in a consultant with us, thanks to Cheryl Houdon and Donna Sheedy, who head up this committee, to move us forward technologically. I want you to know that every Sunday you are watching this event from somebody's cell phone. Today it's Cheryl Houdon's cell phone. Most of the time, it's between Cheryl and Donna's cell phone. We're not using fancy equipment. We're not using fancy things. We're just trying to bring comfort and inspiration to you any way we can. But we know we have to move on. We know that we have to grow up. Right, Sandra? Sandra Kavanaugh is also part of this committee that's helping us move forward, and we're so grateful to her from helping us from so many different perspectives. As part of what's happening here now is that we are looking at a new fund, a new technology fund to support a camera and some other equipment that we have to purchase in order to move forward. We'll be letting you know more about that as the weeks go on. But some of you getting your little stimulus checks might want to think, I'm feeling generous, I'm feeling affluent, I'm feeling abundant. Let's buy a new camera for the church, and we'll accept. Thank you for your consciousness of support and love during these difficult months, and they're not over. There are more to come. Again, I beseech you, truly using that word consciously, to wear your masks. We're near the end, yes. Please do not get so comfortable that you are not taking care of yourself and others. No matter what your state legislature may tell you in the next couple of weeks, I'm asking you to stay the course because I love you. And because this fall, I want to see every single one of you sitting in the chairs that have been taken out of this sanctuary and put in storage. We want to pull them out and bring you back home. We want to bring your families back home. I'm asking you to stay safe. On behalf of all of us at the CSL Boise, thank you for being with us today, and thank you for your support. So last week I said to you, there are many, many, many different ways that you can give here at the CSL Boise. I know it's being put on the live feed right now, how you can give through our Vanco and through other ways of giving. And I said we also still accept the old-fashioned cash in the mailbox, which is in the back of the church behind me. Just drive around the church and you'll see the mailbox. I don't know who you are, but thank you. Thank you. It made me know somebody was listening and watching. Thank you so much. So let's just take our gift, our offering in our hands, as we know absolutely, as we turn within for a moment of blessing, we say thank you, God, thank you, Spirit, thank you, life, that this represents the eternal givingness, the abundance of a universe that never runs out, that is never in lack and limitation. We say thank you, God, for the opportunity to participate in the law of circulation, that as we give, so shall we receive. And we give not only our money, but we give our love. We give our consciousness. We give our support. And we give our love. And I say thank you, God. Thank you, life. And so it is. Amen. 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 Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you to Miss Sandra Kavanaugh for her beautiful music today. Ladies and gentlemen, Sandra Kavanaugh.
All these songs today were co-written by Rex. Gotta say that too. Irresponsible. Have you heard these words before? We're just responsible. And let me tell you something more. Every action, thought, and word and deed that you put out in the world is an energetic loop attached to you. Ooh. On that karmic tally board, it's all been taken down. There ain't no escaping the choices we're making. We'll all be coming back around. Yeah, we're responsible. Now I'm not talking about fault or blame. We're just responsible. As long as we are in this game, it really doesn't matter who wins or who's gonna lose. It's really not a right-wrong sort of game. Yeah, it's all about the happiness that we give and we receive. So the only question is, are you forgetting forgiveness and choosing grief? Yeah, yeah. A gratitude will make a blessing out of every curse, 'cause we're responsible. Don't you judge somebody else, just be responsible. You gotta solve it for yourself. Don't matter what somebody says or what they do to you. How you behave is all that you can choose. Ooh, are you gonna let that pettiness put you where you don't want to be? Or take charge of the world you're making by taking responsibility. Don't judge another, just be responsible. Forgive your brother, 'cause we're all just responsible. Don't judge another, just be responsible. For the heaven we are making in this world.
Please stand wherever you are, home or in the sanctuary, and receive this blessing for today, trusting the holy journey, surrendering what is no longer serving, and accepting the greater good of who we truly are. Peace and blessings, everybody.
1, 2, 3, 4.